Non-influencer review of the PSA Dagger Micro Comp. That's right, Dagger Micro, not Micro Dagger, as everyone else has said. It's actually called the Dagger Micro. This was the kit that came with the Raven red dot and the compensated slide. Full review coming up, including absolute first shots through the gun, no practice or warm-up or highlight reels, full magazine +1 to see how the one included magazine performs, what's for dinner to see what the gun eats. Then we'll take it over to the spinner for sights and trigger control, give you some 5 shots from 7 yards practical accuracy, as well as concluding thoughts of 2 shooters coming up next on GBGuns.
All right, first rounds through the Palmetto
State Armory
Arms Dagger
Micro Comp.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah.
Nice big screen on top.
We're about 20 yards away from a C-zone piece of steel.
Oh, let me zoom in there.
This
Otherwise,
is
you're not going to see anything.
the Raven optic, which came with the gun in a combo deal.
All right.
Thoughts?
Thoughts are, it's going to take some time to love it.
Okay.
Hopefully we come around to that because I want to. It likes to be shot. I don't like the way it makes me feel when I'm shooting it.
Huh. So you're getting some feedback on the trigger through the trigger?
It's not the trigger so much as it's the design of the way it fits in my hand. It's hitting my knuckle with the recoil because of the way that it grips here. It's
Okay.
not cut out comfortably. But we'll see.
All right, first shots for myself. We did confirm the 0 on this. It's not terrible.
We did confirm it is a little right.
I'm finding it to be very controllable. A little bit of finger slap from the trigger. I'm wondering if that might be part of what you were feeling. Off camera, while she handed this over, Tia was describing to me basically what Glock knuckle is like, except we haven't even done holster draws with this. It's not hitting my hand that way because my knuckle bone is, like the actual joint is clearing the trigger guard. It's still outside of the trigger guard. On like a Glock 19, I end up with that knuckle right under, and that's where I really get it. Maybe your smaller hand is hitting there. And I just got the middle finger, as Tia demonstrated.
Oh, come on now. If I was going to do that, I'd let the world see it.
Now we'll see this. As I understand it, this is allegedly a Palmetto State Armory made magazine that is a clone of the Shield Arms mag. I don't know because I'm not a Glock guy, so can't tell. I mean, it's marked Palmetto State Armory, but we'll see how it runs. Full mag +1.
So this mag was really hard to get that last round in. I'm going to put the one in there. And now pop that in. We're in there good and snug. I went fast.
How did that feel after not liking the first 10 shots?
It still is hitting my knuckle
Yeah.
quite a bit. And I was really holding on to it because the narrowness of this gun rocks in my hand. The way my hands are built, I need a little bit more girth in the back here to, I don't know, create that suction, if you will. Otherwise, it does this in my hand. So this hand has to come in here, and I really had a hold of it with my other hand to control that. I think I did pretty good.
Yeah, the ejection was incredibly consistent. which speaks somewhat to the gun, but mostly to the consistency of the ammo. Just want to put that out there for the audience, since a lot of people say it's the gun. Now, the ejection is a function of slide velocity, which is a function of ammo.
Nerdy stuff.
Yeah. All right, let's see what it eats. It's that time again. Thanks to our patron supporters, Ammo Squared supporters, and some shopping. What's for dinner time? Today we're going from 65 grain up to 158, I believe. We'll check on the other side. As I roll past these, you'll notice that the ogive is in different location. We've got different overall loaded lengths, different case materials, projectile types. We're looking to see, what will the gun eat? Will it feed from slide lock? Will it cycle and feed another round of the same type? And will it lock open on empty? So 65 to 165 today. If you want to test any of this yourself, for example, does it do a full mag? Check the pinned comment over at gbgunsstupid.com. I will link to sources of this ammo where I can find it. I hope you're comfy. What's for dinner is going to take a little bit longer because we only have one magazine, so we get to reload between every shot. Our lightest load today is the 65 grain range training frangible from Norma. Circle number 1. These are 2-inch circles. We are 7 yards back. Tell you can really feel the extra pressure from that port with those high velocity rounds. That was loud and percussive. We also did not get slide lock. Curious, the Raven optic isn't the lightest, but most optics are pretty light. See how Federal's American Eagle 70 grain frangible does. Also headache inducing. And no slide lock. My thumb is clear of the slide release lever for you Glock guys, or slide lock, or slide lock release.
Those sounded very boomtastic.
Yeah, these fast ones are loud. Now another loud one, Winchester Super Clean 90 grain.
I'm glad you got that one.
Circle 3. That wasn't as bad.
Not as bad at all.
Didn't group very well though, but that could be me. Circle 4 is going to be Hornady American Gunner 115 grain. Finally, we've got something that's of standard weight. My shots are all over the place. Again, no slide lock.
Interesting.
Yeah, trying to keep my thumb clear. Normally I feel it. It could be something like under recoil, my thumb is bumping that slide lock release lever. We might just have Tia try some of these same loads, see if her different hands are gonna fit different on this. All right, our last load is Blazer aluminum 115 grain. We use aluminum and steel case when we can. For the same reason you do, it costs less. However, you've got greater friction of the rounds stacked inside the magazine, greater friction going into and out of the chamber than brass, as well as a different expansion contraction rate, so some guns choke on it.
One of these days we'll have a t-shirt.
Slide lock. All right, so maybe those other loads just weren't producing the energy this gun needs.
All right, Circle 6 is Federal Premium's Law Enforcement.
HST, tactical HST.
Tactical, 124 grain. Oh yeah, we have a dot. Ow.
Those have more recoil?
Yeah, quite a bit more recoil. I definitely felt it in my finger and in my thumb. It's kind of bothering that whole nerve thing I have that happens. PMC FSX, 124 grain.
SFX.
SFX, that's what I said.
Yeah.
Circle 7. Those were pleasant, and they smelled nice, But we're going to try these Federal Premium 135 grain.
Hydroshock deep.
Pray for me.
I hope we don't have an optic coming loose on us with how poorly we've been shooting.
No. There. I practiced the keeping both or one eye open instead of both for that one. This is the PPU Defense line ammunition, 147 grain.
The Hydroshock Deep smell a little bit like campfire out of this
Did
gun.
they?
Yeah.
Circle 8, 9.
Not campfire sauce though, because that would be tasty.
Circle 9. Whoops.
Those were so far the least offensive to be standing near.
And for Circle 10, we have ammo incorporated stealth rounds. These are 165 grain.
I believe it's pronounced stealth because there's no A in the word.
Circle 10. They're the winner.
Those often shoot, those look the nicest. The brass barely came out. If you would, for me, grab 3 of the Norma or the Federal lightweights and see if we get slide lock. Do we have 3 more?
I'm just grabbing 3 out of the heaviest box. So we'll do the Norma. I'm not excited about these.
Because I didn't get slide lock on
Okay.
those. And I'm curious if it was shooter error or the ammo.
And where do you want me to put them?
Circle 1.
Damn.
Damn, those are loud. And you got slide lock. So folks, this is where blaming the gun may not always be right. It may have been my hand.
But I don't know how, because typically with these kinds of slide release, there's nothing that really interferes with them. They're so...
Minimal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
I don't know. Anyways, on to the spinner. 3.4-inch barrel is not going to give us a whole lot of energy, but we'll see how it does. That is our Titan Grid Outdoors 6-inch spinner target. We're about 12 yards back. We use this for sights and trigger control because it's a small target, and as we hit it, it starts moving. So, small moving target requires good sights and trigger control. 8 rounds of Bellum 124 grain. Let's see how we do.
Whoa.
I redeemed
That
myself.
last one went way out there.
It's a punch through kind of trigger. Control on it's pretty good. Shooting the spinner with a dot, of course, is easier than with irons because you focus on the target and you don't have things to line up. The trigger worked fine for that. I can't complain about it. I still don't like it per se. It's a crunch through, I guess, kind of wall. I mean, I know that's Glockish, but yeah, it just kind of crunch through. That's the best way I can say it. It's not a defined stopping point and break. It's a, okay, somewhere around here, and it goes off. But the compensation on here also seemed to help really well. My recovery time was quicker than with most guns. So the comped, ported, however you want to call it, slide, did seem to help keep nose down. That combined with having a dot on there made it really easy to time shots and stay on the thing quickly for me. And tee us up with 8 rounds of Bellum 124 grain.
Whoa. The sights made it easy for me I've spent more time. Actually, I went to a course with a red dot on and did really well with it until I got frustrated. Like on day 3, I was just tired before I switched back to iron sights. So I liked the dot on that. Have I done the spinner with a dot before?
I think we've used dots before on
the trigger. After Graham shot, I kind of was trying to feel what he was talking about to see if I could come up with something that works in my mind to describe it. And to me, it's like dipping a spaghetti noodle in a pan and then trying to break it. It's not hard and it's not soft, and you just don't know when it's going to go, but it's going to go no matter what. But it didn't challenge me in that. Maybe it was that my mind was on the spinner and not so much on the trigger. I guess we'll see how that affects accuracy.
I noticed your follow-ups were quicker than with most guns.
Dot.
Because you're able to just watch the target.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And the 2 that I missed after my first 2 hits was because I tried to follow. I did the whole muscle memory, if you will, of following your recoil back down to get your iron sights back in focus. So that screwed me up on those 2, but I'm okay with what happened there.
All right, practical accuracy is up next. 5 shots from 7 yards using the same Bellum 124 grain. Those black squares are 1 inch. Oh, I gotta turn the dot down. Sun is going away on us. Oh, there we go. That's it. That's a better dot. And there's that slightly high and right 0 that we were wondering about. No slide lock. Again, my thumb is definitely clear of slide release. What is going on? I'm not even feeling it.
My 5 shots from 7 yards, aiming at the right circle square. Oh, you really reduced the dot. Yes, I flinched a bit.
I was curious about this because in my mind, this is a less expensive off-brand Glock build based SIG macro comp. Coming in retail almost half or somewhere around half the price of what the SIG macro comp was when it was released. So I was curious if it was going to be a just as good or an alternative. For me, no. I think if you're a Glock shooter, maybe. If you're more used to that flash cooked noodle, al dente kind of trigger, the ergonomics it's not uncomfortable, but it's not supporting my grip of the gun either. If that makes sense. It's not painful to hold on to, but it's not helping me shoot either. This one for me, if I had the choice to go back and do it again, I wouldn't have bought. Nothing wrong with it per se. It just for me is not working out. The Raven Optic, so far so good. Seems to work just fine. I'd never shot a Raven Optic before. Once I got that dot dialed down a bit, things were great. I'm not a big dot guy. Some of you know that. That's because I'm actually left-handed and left-eyed, and I have an astigmatism. So I'm already having to battle to force a right eye dominance to begin with. Sure, you could say both eyes open. I can't do that because I'm left eye dominant. So if I am shooting right-handed and I go both eyes open, the dot moves. I've shot enough that sometimes it doesn't, which is where I really get myself into some trouble because I've done some courses where I did both eyes open and everything was great. And then I paused for a minute and I went back and suddenly I was off by like 6 inches as my left eye remembered, wait a minute, I'm in control. Recoil's not bad. Some of the loads were uncomfortable, and those same loads are not uncomfortable in other guns. So recoil impulse through the gun may not be awesome. I was failing to get slide lock, but Tia didn't. So although I didn't feel it, I highly suspect that where my thumb lines up with the slide lock under recoil, I must be bumping it just wrong enough to keep it from functioning. So again, that's something that just doesn't work for me, but it doesn't mean it won't work for you, and I'm glad there's another option out there.
So going along the lines of Graham's thinking, and that this is a knockoff, if you will, of something else, save your money, because you know, things cost more for a reason. You don't buy Louis Vuitton at Walmart. It's just not going to happen. That being said, for me, this gun is not comfortable because it's a Glock pattern and it's narrow. So you've got the angles that a Glock would have, but you don't have any of that beefiness that fills my hand better. It doesn't come with anything that's interchangeable that's going to change that for me either. As well as these grips, or the texturing that's on here is very minimal. Very minimal. And so while it works right now in these very pleasant temperatures, if this is sitting in your pants getting hot and you go to grab it, it could be slick. So there is that. The dot I enjoyed. I didn't even see, you can almost co-witness, but I wouldn't trust it.
Yeah, it's barely, that's how I did a rough zero of it. And and this is the dot that was included in this package deal that I got. The co-witness is basically when the dot disappears at the bottom.
I get about half a dot when I'm co-witnessing.
Yeah.
So it's not something that you could rely on. In a pinch even, I wouldn't rely on that. They could have come up just a little bit higher on that and it would have been perfect. Graham asked me to try the front serrations. Let me drop this mag. And I did. It pinched my hand in through here as the barrel rises, so be wary of that. Gripping it from back here was no issue. The trigger, I don't get the gooiness of it unless I'm intentionally going slow, and then you feel that very plastic grind, if you will, that these types of triggers tend to have. I wouldn't steer anybody away from this gun. I would ask that you have some experience in handling it and forming a good grip and things like that, and understand why all of those things are important before you do. It's not horrible, but if you're looking for something great, save your money.
I think that's fair. Thank you to the patrons who helped make this purchase possible. Yes, folks, that's right. This was not an influencer review. Palmetto State Armory doesn't send us anything. This was a purchase, and it may be showing up at the local gun store soon.
I want to like it. Like, it's got so much potential if it just had more beef in the back.
Well, and here's the crazy thing, and I brought the original Dagger Compact just in case for a side-by-side, because the original Dagger Compact, not bad at all. And this isn't bad either, but I was more accepting of it. Maybe a side-by-side, quick 5 shots of this versus the Dagger Compact.
I mean, we could try it. I would hope that it's improved.
Well, we'll try it, and this will be a little added bonus after the end credits, the patron credits. If you guys stick around, you can see us do each 5 rounds through this, 5 rounds through the Dagger Compact, to see if we've got any reflections on that. Since they are both 15 rounders, this has a little less muzzle energy, but it has a comp, and it's also thinner.
All right, so I have 5 rounds and the Palmetto State Compact Dagger, or Dagger Compact.
Dagger Compact.
Palmetto Dagger Compact. It's not the macro. I already like it better because it's got this bump in the back. It's got this nice little keep your finger in place here. Nice little undercut.
So our thought is to just throw 5 rounds through each. Could be a group, could be for speed, whatever it is. We're gonna do the same with both guns and see what kind of feeling we get.
I like it.
All right, do the skinny one side by side. Shoot at the same pace, same kind of thing. See what kind of feels you get.
Okay.
So what was the difference?
The difference, first off, is the girth in this gun. It might seem big for my hand, but it allows me to get a better grip on it. Second thing is this undercut is just done a little nicer. It didn't bump at my hand. That could also be because of the width of the gun and where it's hitting in my hand. This, though this has its barrel cut out in the front, call it whatever you want, this one has these nice cuts on the top also. Therefore, the weight is more evenly distributed, and I did not have to chase my sights like I did with this. Though this is a dot, this one I felt stayed on target better.
Interesting. All right, I'm gonna try ready up single and then 2 pairs. That's gonna be my comparison thing. Okay, I had lateral movement, which tends to be a gun swimming in the hands. Happens on skinny guns. Try the same on the compact. I grouped that time. So for me, it came down to being able to control the firearm, and like Tia, that comes to surface area on the gun. This is a broader gun, and I showed you in the tabletop. Palmetto Armory has kind of a swell through the middle of the stock here, which they do not on the micro. That swell fills the hand, fills the firing hand, and gives the support hand more surface area to get on. And yeah, it stayed, I dare say it stayed flatter for me.
It certainly did. From over here, it was absolutely smoother.
Yeah, it felt much flatter, and this is, I forget which version of the slides. There's an article over on GBGunsDepot.com where I wrote it up and compared. But yeah, this is a lighter weight slide with those window holes. And to Tia's point, it does help keep the mass down.
So much less nose flip in that than here.
Interesting. Yeah, gotta say it. So we wanted to do this because we're not trying to poo-poo on Palmetto Armory guns. We just wanted to identify what it was that wasn't quite working for us with the micro. And the most fair way to do that without it looking like a Brandis thing is to compare it with another Palmetto Armory product. So between these two, I'd go with this guy. I get it that the micro is slimmer, and that's more easy to conceal for certain body shapes and sizes and clothing and comfort thresholds. Also, if you're newer to carry, anything put in your pants feels like it sticks out. So you want something tiny. We've all been there in our carry journey. We start with the smallest thing possible. Also because at that point your wardrobe hasn't adjusted to carry, and you're maybe not willing to do that yet. But for me, if I had to choose between these two, I would go with compact.
Well, and part of our passion here in doing what we do is to inform people. And if you're just going to the gun counter and you pick up something nice and slim like that, you're going to think it's great because it really feels great. But understanding how it functions in your hand once it's operating on the range or, you know, wherever you're using it, and understanding how having a little bit more controllability of that helps. Like, just so you can weigh apples to apples, if you will.
Yeah, handguns are already a compromise in firepower, but when you make a further compromise within that handgun for concealability, just be aware of that.
Yeah.
Between these two guns, this produces more energy. This is more likely to have the hollow points perform as intended. And at least for the two of us, this was a whole lot easier to control.
So much more pleasant to shoot.
Yeah, I could do a course with this.
Yep, for sure.
I wouldn't do a course, and I wouldn't want to load those mags all day.
No, my hand is not happy.
So, hope this was helpful. Thank you guys for watching.